suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet.
I was spotting down the firing range for several shooters when all of a sudden I saw a large, hairy creature walking from right to left.
We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say, we know there's some things we do not know. But there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
Encounter Brigade, welcome to the team.
Hey, good evening, everybody. It's 9:25 here on the East Coast. Imagine a lot of folks may be watching Game 2 of the World Series.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get a lot of participation tonight there.
Yeah, that's okay, though. I mean,
we're in the hat, though. We're in the hat.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yep. Go Braves.
Go Braves.
Man, fantastic. You know, so called Jonny. I was getting out of the deer woods earlier and about getting on tonight, just kind of do a quick reading of a submission that I got from a friend of mine that I've known for, gosh, many years now. And he lives out in Washington State, but got home, had to get dinner. Jonny had to wait his turn for the computer because his wife's printing out Braves stuff, right?
Yeah, she got one of these newfangled shirt printer thingies that does shirts, and she can do bumper stickers and all kinds of stuff. And she was smart enough that after the last playoff game, she started making World Series shirts. And I was joking with her. I was asking her if I got one more day off after that. Can I put in my 2 weeks notice or what? What's going on? Because she is so, and she's actually going and meeting people. Like, she's been running all day, meeting people and giving them their shirts. And then she gets a phone call. Hey, my coworkers want one. So all night for days, she's been making these shirts. So,
oh man,
yeah,
yeah. You'll have to post some up on the site so we can see.
I don't know if I want to. She may not be able to keep up. I'm gonna let her handle that.
Dude, that's your retirement plan, man. Tell her this is funding the research.
with every shirt, I see bing, new camera, bing, new gun, bing,
yeah,
bigger thermal.
Oh man. So Jonny, last week, remember I kind of told you I got an email from a buddy of mine, and he's seen our Facebook page, and and he kind of told me about an incident that him and one of his coworkers who he hunts with had back in September. And so anyways, I know this guy Ricky. I've known him since the mid 90s when I was stationed and lived up in Washington State. Ricky was born and raised in Centralia, Washington. His dad was a law enforcement officer in the Centralia area, and and his grandpa, who I've known, live out there. And anyways, ever since he was a kid, they used to go hunt in an area called the Little Natchez area, which is west of Yakima on Highway 410. So if you look on a state map of Washington State, you'll see Yakima, and you'll see Highway 410 goes west towards Mount Rainier. In fact, it goes up and over a pass. Beautiful elk area. The Yakima elk herd back in the mid and late 90s, man, it was phenomenal hunting. And Rick kind of really cut my teeth into elk hunting. Showing me every little spot that him and his family hunted and whatnot. And you got to think, back the mid 90s, it's probably not as congested as it is now. They had campgrounds, but more of it was primitive, unless you were near the road, the interstate, the 410 there.
Now, is all this property that they're on that you're talking about? Does he own? His family
No,
own?
no. So this is all national
This
forest.
is just where they. Okay.
Yep. Big national forest. And I mean, Rick, I remember there was a time I would say, man, Rick, I'd like to see a bighorn sheep. Man, he goes, okay, we're gonna take this road, we're gonna go down this valley, up this road, and sure enough, there's bighorn sheep. I remember one
Must
day,
be nice.
we had hiked this one valley, we call it Goat Canyon, and because I told him, I said, man, it'd be cool to see a billy goat. He goes, oh, dude, I know exactly where to go. And so, dude, like literally, he would take me to a spot. I remember we were drinking beers one time. I mean, driving my Jeep, and anyways, we parked up on this road and we walked up this ridge like a half mile, and it's this sheer cliff. And we looked down and there's like white billy goats, right? I mean, white mountain goats on these cliffs below us. And I said, dude, I can drop a beer bottle on top of them, And he said, man, you wanted to see them, and dude, the guy just knows his stuff, man. A phenomenal elk caller. He's entered a lot of like Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation calling contests, and has done very well.
Does he guide people?
No, man. You know what? Doesn't guide, man. You know what?
Because I was telling you, me and my dad want to do a hunt next year, man. We're looking for somewhere. Definitely elk, most likely.
Yeah, man. But no, I never guide. You just kind of, it's just been, like, just kind of like his vacation. He works his tail off throughout the year, and then he gets a week off and he goes elk hunting. Weekends during the summer he'll go scouting, and so this is kind of this submission that he sent me was about a scouting trip that him and his coworker were going on in mid-September, and leading up to the elk season. And anyways, they just had this weird, I don't know, it's a really, really weird encounter. Not a visual, but I'll go ahead and just kind of read off what he had sent me via email. And forgive me if it seems real choppy. It's just, I think he was trying to keep the story short. He must have wrote it while he was at work or something. But anyways, he goes, hey, bud, been going back to looking at your Facebook podcast with the Encounter Brigade. I thought I'd share something with you. Me and a coworker, Jim, were doing some preseason scouting for elk up in Little Natchez in old areas that you and I used to hunt. He goes, remember, Little Natchez is west of Yakima on Highway 410. We camped at the Crow Creek campground. Arriving late Friday evening, we set up camp there. So anyways, I kind of pulled up on, if you guys can kind of see this map here, this is the that area. Crow Creek campground is right here. And back in the day, we used to, I think he and I probably created this clear cut because there was not that many trees there. We used to go in there with a chainsaw and man, just like chop down trees, man, make wood, to burn in our wood stove and our tent. He and I went on in halves and we bought like one of those old Army GP Smalls, and a wood stove, and he's still got it today. But anyways, okay, back to the story. Camped at Crow Creek in the morning, got up in Jim's Jeep, and we drove west on the National Forest Road. So that says they went up this way. There's only major dirt road out of the.
Now I can't see your.
Yeah, I can't really zoom in on this, but I'll have to figure it out. But
I
anyways,
can't see your cursor if that's what I'm
yeah.
saying.
So they went up this way, you know. Okay, so drove west on National Forest Road. He did have he put down a number. The National Forest roads up there are like 1902, 1910, 1906.
Right.
I'll just kind of leave that number out. Just kind of protect that area, because it is his hunting area.
Yeah.
Anyways, Jim and I, we had the windows down on the Jeep. We took a curve along a new planted section of pines on our left and dark timber on our right. In the middle of the curve, we both smelled a skunky trash smell. They stopped and backed up, trying to look outside the windows to see if there was something dead outside. As best as I can recall, I said, it must be skunk weed or something. They drove on for another quarter mile, and the road was blocked by logging crews with two big dirt mounds and a pile of cut timber. They parked there while it was still dark. Jim wanted to smoke a cigarette before we got out. So we sat in the Jeep, windows down, and he lit a cigarette. To the right, outside the passenger window in the dark timber, we could hear something walking around and just cracking small pieces of wood or limbs as it was moving. We didn't think of anything of it other than it could be a deer or elk that was bedded in the timber. Our goal was to get out of the Jeep, walk into the big clear cut, and be able to glass and call for elk and hopefully get them to come out of the timber so we can look for a promising bull. Before it started to get light, we both exited the Jeep, and for some odd reason, we didn't even bring our guns. We left them all in the back seat of the Jeep. We both walked up into the clear cut about 100 yards or so. Jim went to the left and I went to the right. When we got to be about 100 yards apart, we both heard three loud howl screaming noises from the dark timber that was moving away from us. Whatever it was loud. It was louder than a bull elk bugling. It did not sound like an elk bugling because it was much shorter, but this thing was moving and crashing through the timber away from us. Jim runs over to where my location was, and I was hunched down behind a large stump, and he asked, "What the hell was that?" I told him I've never heard anything like that, and we just sat there until the sun came up. Yeah. So when the sun came up, we glassed into the timber there, and didn't see anything. I tried some elk bugles and some cow calls, but it was at this point it was very, very, very quiet. No responses, nothing. Before we left, we decided to go walk down towards the wood line to look inside that dark timber. When we got there, we could probably see 20 yards in, but it was very thick with downed trees and large limbs. I definitely did not want to go trouncing through there without a weapon after hearing what I heard. We decided to get back into the Jeep and drive down, back down off that hill to another clear cut area. So we got down to the Jeep, drove down another, it seemed like maybe a half mile, and we parked, and we end up deciding we're going to skirt that new planted pines. Now, granted, they were about 12 feet tall and spaced out where you can still walk through there. Uh, Jim and I made our way to the back section of that timber, and we decided to space ourselves about 30 yards apart. From there, we would walk straight back towards the dirt road, hoping to flush out anything that was in there so we can kind of get a look at it. As I was walking, I kept on hearing what I thought was Jim walking beside me. I would kick things around on the ground. I found some elk bones, and I stopped to see if it was a bull, if there was any antlers laying around on the ground. The whole time, I thought Jim was still walking beside me, 30 yards away. I would walk and I would cow call with an artificial cow call that I always carry, and I wouldn't hear anything. I kept on cow calling, but I can hear him walking beside me. So now this is where it gets weird. So the whole time I'm thinking Jim's just off to off to my left, 30 yards away. When I finally get to the dirt road, I look back up to where we parked the Jeep, which was about 200 yards away, and Jim was sitting on the bumper. I walked down the road and I asked him, I said, "What are you doing here?" And his reply was, "I thought I heard you running up and down the dirt road. So I made my way out here and I didn't see you. So I walked to the Jeep." Rick says, "Well, that's weird because I thought you were walking beside me in the timber. I had stopped because I saw some elk bones." So anyways, man, I wanted to share this with you because it was very odd. When I go back and I look at the map of where we parked earlier before the sunrise, and I could draw a straight line from where that loud howl scream came from and the direction it ran to, it ran straight towards the area where we went and searched next, and where whatever it was walking beside me in the pines. Anyways, I didn't see anything other than smelling that nasty smell and then hearing whatever that was I heard. When I came home, I did do a Google search to listen and to try to listen for what I may have heard. And it brought me to these Bigfoot recordings. And sure enough, what I heard sounded eerily close to some of those vocalizations that are on the internet.
Damn.
I can't tell you that I actually saw anything. All I know is it was big and it moved through the brush with ease in an area that I couldn't get through or didn't even want to go through. Anyways, so that's where he left it off, man. So anyways, that's just wow. You know, yeah.
Man, you got, you
Yeah.
take, nothing against my wife. She's extremely smart individual. She doesn't do a lot of stuff outside. I mean, she does, what we do with the family, camping, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You throw her out there and she might overreact to something that she hears because she's not used to it.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about guys like this, in areas they've hunted for years,
Yep.
where they can just take you on you ask them, "Hey man, I want to see a goat. I want to see a chupacabra. I want to see a pigeon."
Yeah.
And they can take you right to it.
Yep.
That's why the stories from the hunters, especially,
Yeah.
just like that one, are they're professionals basically at what they're doing. They know the outdoors. They know when things are off. They know animals aren't supposed to be doing what these things do.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's funny is, he'd send me a message that, man, he looked at like everyone else, you go to Google Bigfoot sightings in Yakima, and all of a sudden there's that BFRO database, right?
Right.
And sure enough, in that area, holy smokes, there's a ton.
Really?
Yeah, he sent me a link, and all that, and they're in Yakima County, and I was shocked. I was like, holy smokes, man, it is pretty. There's a lot of encounters through the years and even recent, and there's other encounters on there, or reports on there from hunters, hikers, people
And
camping.
I imagine, I've never been to Washington, but that area is probably a lot more wild than what we get out here in Georgia, even North Georgia, right? It's a lot more rural.
Yeah, and it is your what when I was stationed there, man, it is what you would say, man, your classic Bigfoot territory country,
Straight up wilderness, right?
mountain.
For
Yeah,
miles.
man. Yeah, it is, and now mind you, I mean, shoot, I mean, this area, this Yakima Valley area, I mean, it's just east of Mount Rainier,
Right.
and there's a lot of reports and all that from that. I mean, that whole region. But the thing is, with Rick, man, holy smokes. I mean, he's if he told me, hey, you know what, after however many years of hunting, I've never seen, heard anything like this in my life, then I believe him. Because I mean, you know what, he put me on my first elk ever, um knew exactly where to go, where I needed to be right at daylight, and pow, got one.
Right.
Yeah, what I mean, bear hunting as well, man. I mean, dude's just on it. But you know what, for this to happen to him, and and he can't explain it, and to this, like you just said, this howl scream thing.
What were you what were you telling me about the trucks?
Yeah.
Where did that come into play?
So so he yeah, having hunted that area, man, he knows pretty much most of all the Forest Service personnel there. There's a headquarters, or like a station there. He knows the law enforcement folks there, the restaurant, the gas station people. So he was at one of the restaurants, and he was talking to the owner about this, about what had happened. And sure enough, the guy told him that, a few years back, when they had a burn up there, one of the crews that was working had a very large, like, boulder rock thrown through a cab of their F-250, F-350, whatnot. And then, like, all the chainsaws and work gear in the bed just strewn, not stolen, just kind of thrown out of the bed. And so, so Rick knows exactly, like you said, man, I know the exact area where they had stopped and where they were working. It's not like cliffs, there's no cliffs. So, this thing didn't just come rolling down a mountain.
Right.
Something had to pick it up and actually chuck it through the windshield, and, but it's funny because that's not on the BFRO page or anything like that,
Right.
a report or whatnot, but it's just something that, the locals in that area know that story.
The locals know everything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, man, it just, that's just a weird thing, and I guess, like, I see, like, the YouTube videos, or the Monster Quest or whatever, and you always hear about, big rocks being thrown, and
Right.
heck, man, I can imagine if I was out, doing a control burn, something might get pissed off and throw a rock through my truck too.
Yeah, get out. They're burning my house down.
Well, you know what's so funny, man? I mean, like when I was in Wyoming, last month, right? I mean, the Forest Service guys were coming out to do a control burn on this place called Grouse Mountain, and and they knew that me and the guys I was hunting with, we were veterans and stuff like that. They're like, hey, man, we're gonna set up a HLZ, helicopter landing zone, about a quarter mile from where we were camped, and so they were clearing that area and they were putting some markers and some flags down, and those guys were like real cool, like showing us exactly where they were going to go do some burning. But I made a comment. I'm like, man, you're not really going to be some popular folks around here, because man, this is like right in elk season, right? And you got outfitters who got paid clients who are going back on that mountain, and
Right.
you're gonna light it up, and yeah, man. So I just gotta, you make someone mad, but I mean, when Rick was telling me about the story about the service truck having a rock thrown through the windshield, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of going a little bit too far.
We've heard this is and I don't think we can talk much about it, but we do have an individual with us in contact with another individual that has a story specifically about these control burns being done, and then individuals showing up and checking on specifically there for, checking on what's actually brought up the fact that it's, bipedal things, and, and another guy on this trip I took a couple weeks ago, he's involved, and I'm get into it a little bit later. It's a group of individuals, and I've decided just not even say who they are, but one of them, he is a forest ranger, and they've had the same thing to where he was finding sign in an area, and I believe structures and prints and stuff in the area, and then completely out of season when they're not supposed to be doing it at all, his boss tells them, hey, we're going to do a control burn in section so-and-so. And they're like, well, why? We're like, just go do it. This is the section. And he's saying, it's weird. First of all, they're not supposed to be doing it that time of year. And it was just out of the blue. And apparently they just had way too much activity in that area. And then somebody, I guess, makes the phone call, or what? I don't know what the process is, but I mean, it's something that seems to come up a lot.
Huh.
So
kind of like burning away the evidence, trying to get whatever's there moved out.
Yeah, same guy was saying that they were actually doing it over using a tractor. I'm not going to remember the exact story. Basically, the guy was going over obvious tracks and trying to hit the tracks and covering everything up and just not saying anything about it. But he was out there intentionally doing that, and I know it sucks for people to hear that a guy that told me that I can't talk about that, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, that's the reality of it. Some people, especially when they got government jobs or they're, forest rangers or whatever it is. Yeah. You can't really be real specific, but this stuff's going on, and it's pretty, I've heard a lot of other people talk about it, where they go in and block things off or cut things down or burn things. I got weird stuff going on in my area right now. And
if you folks, if you guys go to Encounter Brigade Facebook page, Jonny posted not too long ago this evening a very weird road closure right there.
Yeah. Basically what's happening is it's right in the area where it's on the same part of the road where I had took the road crossing video. And today where I took the picture is almost exactly where I was standing the day that I was filming behind me. So I'm standing in the road walking towards where this big, you'll see it's a berm and these big blocks, the biggest concrete blocks I've seen in since Iraq.
Is that right? Yeah,
So,
the Jersey barrier. Huh?
right. And it's there's two of them. There's one right there in that spot, and there's another one that's brand new, and the other one really makes no sense because it's like right in the middle of the area, blocking off, like it's right in the middle of the management area. So I don't even know what it's blocking. Like they themselves, I mean, the road keeps on going past this burned off area. So they've basically blocked off their only entrance on that road, and that road is just inside the management area. Plus, there's a gate at the top of the management area. So I don't even know what the purpose of doing that would be. There's no, I mean, unless it was like maybe they're trying to keep motorcycles or something out. But hell, I mean, you can easily go around them, you know, on a motorcycle or something. So I don't know what's going on out there, but it was odd. And then I found, I'm not going to be very specific about it, but I found in that same area shortly after when I went back looking around the same area as the road crossing, I found something on the side of the road. Well, today I found something that looks exactly like that something up near the front of the road. I don't know if it's paranoia or coincidence, or maybe the Sasquatch did it, but it's so close to the parking area that it almost looks like a setup. Like, you know, is this going to wind up on his Facebook page kind of stuff? You know, odds are nobody's paying attention. It's just, it's
well,
just
you know what
stuff,
I told
man.
you.
It's just really
Remember
weird.
what I told
you
you.
know?
I'm like, well, you know, it's a significant archaeological find,
Right.
and now the government has to like shut that area down.
Gonna
So they
send
can do a
17 dudes in there
study. Exactly.
to do a
6-year
6-year study on these rocks that I left on the side of the road.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're going to be the new Georgia mounds or whatever.
Georgia guidestones.
Exactly. You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, they're you know, some importance to them. You know, it was made during you know, perfect alignment with the hunter's moon the other night.
Well, I don't know what's going on, but I do know it's a lot of effort to block these roads
they spent
off at
some
these two
money.
different points. They
Yeah,
spent
they
some
spent
money
some
doing
money.
it.
I mean,
And I don't know why, because there's never any vehicles that I've seen vehicles. I've seen one vehicle down there one time when the gate was open, like 2 years ago. So I don't know what they're doing.
I can imagine the crew that had to come out there and do that. Well, no one's getting by this spot.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Unless they've got a bulldozer, they're not getting by at all.
Oh man.
But nothing, you know, nothing much has happened around here lately. It's been a while since I've had any real activity. So I don't know. Maybe they're
posted some good. You posted pretty cool pictures and you know the video of your blinds that you did, man. The proof of concept ideas stuff. You know,
I just put that up. I put that up whenever I was off a couple of weeks ago, and I basically just took a sports awning and wrapped it in black plastic, and then kept made a few windows out of really thin black plastic, which the thermals will see through. And I spent a couple evenings in there, looking in the woods, trying to see if anything would happen, but nothing did happen. So it's been a couple of weeks since I've had any activity around here. So I don't, but it's like that. Sometimes it's, it'll be 2 or 3 days, something will happen. It may be a week where there's activity, and then there'll be like a month to where nothing happens. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Oh man.
You got anything else?
No, man, that's it. Other than the letter from buddy Rick and his hunting buddy Jim that had that weird encounter thing in Washington State. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Nothing too new other than just like what just seeing what kind of comes up on different pages here and there, and I will make a
dude,
comment. So it seems like BFRO like Facebook page. Is there some weird stuff that's been going on with that? Like, did it get hacked or something?
No, I think there's two. I think there's two of them, and I think one of them's fake. There is and I just realized that the other day because there was a bunch of stupid stuff going up.
Yeah.
And because the BFRO is the Bigfoot is Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Then the F is Field Research Organization. Well, this other one is BFRO. It's Big Foot Research Organization instead of Bigfoot Field Research Organization. So they're a hack job of the real BFRO is basically what's going on. And I fell for it because I've been on it somebody sent me a link.
Where's it? Some
from
troll
our page.
Somebody trolling them?
I don't know. I mean, it's somebody sent me a link to watch a video on it, and I got off the BFRO a while back just because I don't know.
Yeah, I have a hard time. The only reason I went to it was because I wanted to look up like that Yakima area after my buddy Rick, sent me the information and stuff, and he shared the link to their website that has the database on sightings, and whatnot, So I was like,
if nothing else, that's exactly what they're good at, at least that is say what you want about the investigating or whatever. And I actually know some investigators with the BFRO, and they are, nice people that do a good job and they're honest. I think the BFRO just got a bad rap because of the TV program, so.
Yeah.
And, that stuff's made for TV. And I also know that they leave out the weird stuff. What happened?
Oh, I was looking at this comment here.
So, that's been up there a while, and I don't know who is it.
I know who it is, and this is a Crosbyton Valley, So this is
so this person?
Yes. Yep. Legit guy. Real good man. Him and his family have a beautiful piece of property in North Texas. So Crosbyton. So had the pleasure of spending time at his ranch, me and my daughter, last May, right when the whole COVID thing was kicking off. And anyways, this valley there is so rich in history, Indian history. But the famed Chupacabra video, running down the road and all that. And that's where that Crosbyton place is at, man. There's a museum there. But anyways, in the town there's a museum where they got a full like mammoth bones, you know what I mean?
Woolly mammoth.
Found there,
Cool.
Tons of arrows. Indian arrowheads, Indian artifacts at the museum. We took time to go to the museum there and whatnot. But anyways, gentlemen, he's an avid thermal hog hunting guy. you know, um, if it's a thermal and it's an animal, he's out there all night.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He really enjoys it. But you know what? For him to saying like um, hogs, so they've got definitely a lot of hogs there. My daughter was fortunate to hunt with him, and she took a hog out there. Her first Texas
Well,
hog out there
well, dude,
at night.
I hate to interrupt you, man, but you got to get some more. Got to
What's
get
that?
some more info on this.
I will. I
You know what I'm
will.
saying? That's like
Yeah.
that's kind of like, hey, a spaceship just landed in my backyard. Just
Yeah.
to let you know.
RBJ, you
So,
hear this? You know what? Um,
and he doesn't. Whoever it is, this person can remain like everybody else, And and
I
anybody
may
who
have,
knows me knows that it
no,
is. If you
he's
tell me until I have permission, nothing is said. So
I believe, I believe RBJ is a believer. We've talked a lot about the Sasquatch topic. You
right.
know, so yeah. I
Well, you
mean,
got to get the scoop, man.
I may have. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna say, hey, does he want to come on? You know what?
Would love to have him.
Yeah, and man, phenomenal guy. You know what? I mean, so their property out there, when they go and round up the cattle, they do it, man, the old school horseback way, man. You know
Really.
what? It is so cool. Yeah.
So he owns a
Um,
cattle ranch.
his family does, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and um, and like I said, that valley there. I mean, so what was interesting is, um, back in the days of the Plains Indian and the bison, right? So the Indians would run the bisons off the cliffs into
Right.
that valley, man. I mean, because they're like sheer drop offs, man. And yeah, it's just a different world, man. You know what?
I bet.
Yeah, I
Now,
remember
what
when
part of Texas is this?
so what's that?
Like north, south, east, west? What part of Texas?
Lubbock. Where is it? That's where Texas Tech is. So yeah, my daughter and I, we flew into Lubbock. I remember when we were flying in, we were looking out the window, and I was like, man, it is flat. I mean, as flat
Yeah.
as you can see out there. But then when you get to Crosbyton where he lives, and then this valley is just it's just a different world, man. But it is so neat, man. He took us on a tour throughout that whole area, down the valleys, and dude, there's like, mule deer, whitetails, hogs, man. I mean, eagles, man. You name it, dude. It is something else. But you know what? The history there, like from the Indians, like I said, running the bison off
No,
off off these cliffs there. I was like, holy smokes, Then
man, I
and
love
then
that
also,
stuff.
and then you got the chupacabra, the taxidermied one in the museum there in town, right? I'm like, holy smokes, I've seen
I
this
didn't
on
know that.
TV. Yeah, I've seen that.
No,
I said, holy, I've seen it on Monster Quest, but this is it.
I've got to look that up now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and but for him to say whatever the hogs whatever happened to them was not done by a human, it makes me worry because he's got some big hogs.
Yeah,
The only thing I saw there bigger than hogs was his cattle, but I don't see the cattle
right.
doing that.
No,
Uh,
and
they're-
obviously, like your other buddy, he's probably gonna know what's weird and what's not weird.
dude, yeah, 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 yeah.
Speaking of weird,
Man.
let me hit this one time before we
Okay.
the Dogman.
Yeah.
So all I'm gonna say is, and I already talked about that I went out with a group of gentlemen. I knew some of them personally. Some of them I met for the first time. All of them have been doing this for years, very experienced, and a couple of them that I do not know personally. Now, this group of people, they told me, it's fine to say, who they were and where, not where we went, but what we were doing, blah, blah, blah. But after I had the conversation with a couple of guys, basically in their state for over a decade, they're really big into structures and being able to follow them from one to another. That's pretty much all I'll say on what they do. They've been doing this for over a decade. Well, because of a lot of the evidence they gathered, they were approached. And I asked permission specifically to be able to talk about this if I didn't give away anybody's identity or locations or anything. But they were approached by a gentleman, an older gentleman that's lived on this property for years. And I believe they said for in between 40 or 50 years, he's been researching Sasquatch and Dogman. And he approached them in order to, he's never shared his stuff with anybody because he doesn't trust anybody. He's a veteran, and he saw a lot of combat in one of the older wars. So he lives out on this property by himself, and he does the type of investigating he does is way above and beyond anything that I'm doing or anybody that I know is doing. We're talking about days in a ghillie suit, sleeping, 3 or 4 days in the same spot just for Sasquatch or whatever. So he approached them because he trusts these individuals. I'm sure it was via online or whatever. And they started a relationship, started talking and trading and stuff like that. Well, eventually, whenever he started to trust them is when he started showing them pictures of stuff that he's gotten over the years. And they showed me, and these two guys are not Dogmen people. They are Sasquatch people. From what I gather, they never really gave too much thought about Dogmen. Didn't think it wasn't possible, but just never really thought about it much. Well, this guy not only shows them one of the best pictures of Sasquatch that I've seen, but he shows them pictures of 2 different pictures that they showed me. I'm sure they have a lot more of a Dogman. And one of them was full body, the whole right side, daytime for probably maybe 40 feet away is what it looked like to me.
Was it a trail camera, like a deer camera, or
no? I think
like
one of them was up close. It was about, imagine me where I'm at now, but I'm a Dogman. That's how close it was looking. That was a trail camera photo.
It was looking at the camera,
and it was looking straight at the camera. And it was during the day. You can even see the reflection of the camera in the eyes. And he did something. He actually put blood on the camera. Is how he got it to get that close. The other one, he took himself, from what I gather from the story, and 40 feet away, full body, right hand side. You can even see slash marks or scar tissue on its shoulder. Like, when I saw these photos, it was either, number one, somebody spent a whole lot of money to come up with these photos to trick these guys, or 2, Dogman's real. And from everything, from talking to these guys and from people that know them, and they're still filling this guy out, and they're going to be going out with them and whatever. And, there's a lot more to the story, but they trust this guy.
Yeah.
So these pictures were enough for me to say, hey, you know what? I'm 99.9% sure Dogman's real. These are the best photos I've seen of any cryptid, period. Much less, the Sasquatch picture was full body, a little more than silhouette. It looked like it was maybe 40 yards away. I mean, it was a fairly good picture. It wasn't the greatest picture in the world, but it was a good picture. And they're getting these pictures by he's showing them on his laptop, and then they're just taking pictures of his laptop. So the quality of picture that I saw is, you imagine how degraded it is by taking a picture of a picture on a laptop.
Yeah.
So I decided that since they show, and I asked permission to be able to talk about this, at least talk about the pictures that I saw, because I thought it was important. One that, I think there's other stuff out there. A lot of people have contacted me since then and said, "Yeah, man, I've seen them. They're real."
That's crazy.
And it's not I really don't want to go down that road. But then again, you don't get to pick and choose what you run into when you're out in the woods. So what I will say is seeing those pictures is going to change how I operate at night in the field. Like I can tell I've gotten a little too comfortable is what I'm saying. And I need to ramp up my,
so it kind of raised
my defense.
It raised your EB factor, huh?
Yes, definitely. So, definitely not enough to make me quit. If I saw one face to face, I might, I don't know. Depends on how it went. But, it definitely changed how I think about going out, especially, when I go out alone at night in the management area. Of course, it's only, it's right behind my house. But hell, I'm still out in the middle of the woods by myself. So, it kind of makes me think, well, wait a second, maybe I need to, be bringing something a little bigger than what I normally take.
If you mind me asking, if obviously, you just saw a photo of a photo, right?
Right.
But if you had to estimate, like, man, how tall was this thing?
They were telling me that specific one, I don't know.
Okay.
But they were telling me, see how I can say this without giving too much up.
Yeah.
Basically, there's security camera video that they have of it looking over an object, and the object is 10 feet tall.
Oh, okay.
And this thing's looking over the top of it.
Yikes. Okay.
And that's one of them. Now, the one in the picture, there's no way to know whether that was, I don't personally know. I don't know exactly how tall that one was or the exact distance. I'm only going on what these guys are telling me. But they were very, very, very sure about this other one, because they have the way the camera's set up and what the creature was looking over the top of. They know exactly how far off the ground it was. Now, a 5 foot tall dog man is more than I want to deal with. Now you're talking about
double that.
I mean, come on now. How much weirder is this going to get? How much more? But I did learn another thing too, and this has actually been coming up a lot here recently, and I don't know why, but I don't really believe in coincidence, is one of the methods by which this gentleman was getting information was being up in the trees. He spends a lot of time up in the trees, and I was being told that there's a whole nother world going on up there, that there's a lot going on up in the trees. So that's, I don't know. I've seen here recently from a couple other investigators to where hard to reach places for humans, and then up in the trees is where people need to be focusing. That's where I'm going to start focusing my efforts.
You hear that a lot, man. You do hear that a lot.
I mean, you think about all the hunters.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of sightings come from hunters up in deer stands.
Yep.
So it makes perfect sense. So,
oh yeah.
But that's pretty much it, man. I believe that even though I don't want to, Dogman is real, but
man,
see where it goes. If nothing else, it just opened up the door for me to, because before I wasn't really interested in it, not from really. I try to focus and you do too, on personal experience or people that we know. That's one thing we've tried to stick to is, I know we're new in doing this, but we like to keep to what we know and people we know. That way we're getting the best information available. And I didn't know anybody or have any experience with it. So,
man, that's just crazy. It definitely makes me, like I said, I went bow hunting tonight, and I'm gonna be thinking, I'm like, man, if I saw a 10-foot dog man, step out of the blind, oh my goodness.
Like I said, man, not only, it's one thing to, all right, dog man's real, here's pictures of it. And then like, oh yeah, by the way, this one is probably over 10 feet tall. Jesus, you know what?
Yeah.
Where does it end? How weird is it going to get? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Man,
all I can say is I trust these guys. I don't think they would have anything to do with anything like that. But if this guy's pulling the wool over them, he's dumping money into it. I'll tell you that. So some money and some computer guys is what he would need to pull it off, like big time. All for he doesn't want to share it with anybody else except for them. So I don't know. Anyway, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for sharing that, dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I hate Angie missed it because I know she wanted to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure next time we'll go over it again because I don't.
Yeah.
I'm
hopefully
sure we'll come up in conversation.
Yeah. Hopefully you'll get privy to some more info here.
Yeah.
But all right, man. You know what? I mean, that's really all I got, and I'm gonna try to get back to watching some of the Braves game, man. So
yeah, no. Well, make sure you hit up your buddy about the hogs.
I am, man. I am. I owe him a call anyway, so
yeah,
I'll do that.
I'm good to go, man.
All right, Jonny. Well,
all right,
folks. That's the end of this podcast. Until next time. So take it easy.
Y'all have a good night.